are in listen-only mode.
Namaskar, Swagatam. This Buddhavasara, Dinankaha is Panchadashaha, 15th of June. Sayankalaha is the Samas Vicharaha, Tatpurush Samasaha. Mangalacharam Kriyate, Ramo Rajamanis, Sada Vijayate, Ramam Ramesham Bhaje, Ramena Bhihata Nishachara Chamu, Ramaya Tasmai Namaha, Raman Nasti Parayanam Parataram, Ramasya Dasosmyaham, Rame Chittale Stada Bhotame Bhorama Mamuddhara, Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame, Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varadane, Shri Rama Nama Varadana Onnama Iti. Atha Shri Maheshwara Sutrani, O Iyun, Rulruk, E Ong, Ai Ouch, Hayavarat, Van Nyamanga Nam, Javan, Gardadash, Jabagardadash, Kapha Cha Cha Tha Cha Ta Tav Kapai Sha Sha Sar Hal Maheshwara Sutrani. Okay. Continue from last time. We are on page number, I think it is 122. Yeah, page number 123. I'm sorry. We are, page number 123. We are at the bottom of page 123. We start with number 187. But before we do that, let's go to last time's couple of points. I think last time we had the homework lesson where we were doing the homework last time. And we were looking at this example, which was given the book number 9 on the prior page. Raja Rajño Prasadam Matijata Miti Kotra Pratyaha. I think Indu pointed out about this Raja Rajño, whether you should take the Ekashesha, which means that when we compound two words like that, and the only difference between them is the gender. In that case, only the masculine remains. Should be in Raja. No. So the sutram was, I thought about that. The sutram here is Puman Striya. We are not doing this right now in the class, but I think this is a very valid point. Striya Sahoktau Puman Shishyate Tal Lakshana Eva Visheshaschet Hamsi Cha Hamsascha Hamsau. So when you take a compound, this is sutra number 1267. We are not doing this right now in the class, but I think it was a valid point, and I did look it up. And if you make the Kashika Vritti also is, I'll read it out to you. Kashika Vritti is Striya Sahavachane Puman Shishyate Stri Nivartate Stri Pum Lakshanashchedeva Vishesha Bhavati. If the only Vishesha, only difference between the two, this is 1267. The only difference between the two is the gender. In that case, only one of them will remain. You will not say, Hamsa, Hamsyau, or something like that. That will not, or Hamsi, Hamsau. That should not happen. So I think that in that example, we probably need to make a change in that. Look at the vritti here. Is that Striya Sahavachane Puman Shishyate Stri Nivartate. So, Stri Lakshanashchedeva Vishesha Bhavati. If the only difference between them is the Stri Lakshanam, difference in the gender. So, Brahmanascha, there's a typo here. Brahmanascha Brahmani cha Brahmanau, and so on. Okay. So, yes, from last time, further thinking, I think it's a very valid point that this example in the book is definitely, it looks like it should come under the domain of this. Puman Striya, number 1267. This is the Ekasheshadikaraha, which we'll see sometime, I hope. But what's Puman Striya is coming over here. And this Ekasheshadikaraha starts is the Sarupanam Ekashesha from 64. Ekashesha. We say Mata Pitaro becomes Pitarau. So this is Pita Matra, Shvashurau. And all, so all these words are coming over here. So if you can look at 1, 2, just very briefly, look at 1, 2, 70, 172. See, 1, 272 says that, 1, 2, 72. I'm sorry, there's some problem here. Let's see here. This document needs to be edited. Here you can look at over here. 1 to 70. Matra sahoktau pita va shishyate. This is mata pitarau va, mata pitarau. Then, and so on. Anyway, so from last time, the comment is very valid. Is kriya sahoktau puman shishyate tallakshana eva visheshaschet hamsi cha hamsascha hamsau. Same thing, I think we say raja cha rajni cha should have become raja now. So that unless there's some other difference between them, the only difference is the gender, then it should be raja cha rajni cha raja now. And this three pratyaya that is coming over here is coming in the, we did that last time, which is rinnebhyonip. Rinnebhyonip. So that's not requiring any other characteristic to be present to bring in rinnebhyonip. Rinnebhyonip is number 415. 415 in the Ashtadhyaya. So since we have used this three pratyaya, which is not requiring any other visheshanam, so any other vaishishtyam, so then I think we should become Raja now. It looks like it's fine. It means we should make a change in the book, Raja now. Okay, one more thing I want to mention is that, which I didn't mention last time, is the word Tatpurusha itself is a Tatpurusha compound. Tasya Purushaha Tatpurushaha. Tasya Purusha Tatpurusha. It's a Shashti Tatpurusha Samasaha. But it has now become a generic name for the class. So the Tatpurusha itself is a Tatpurusha compound. So it's a Shashti Tatpurusha, but now it represents not only Shashti Tatpurusha, but it represents all Tatpurusha compounds. So I don't know if I mentioned in the class last time, so that is why this name Tatpurusha is being used. Tasya Purusha, Tatpurusha is now become a sanya for the entire class of Tatpurusha compounds, not only Shashti Tatpurusha, but the entire class is called Tatpurusha. Okay, let us start with today's work, and today I think I have put some notes. So before we start, there's a good book in English by Sri Charudev Shastriji. Charudev Shastriji was one of the seniors of our Bhimsen Shastriji, and he's also a great scholar who is no more. He passed away a few years ago, actually many years ago. Shastriji only passed away, I think, in 2002. Bhimsen Shastriji. I think Charudev Shastriji passed in in the 80s. So anyway, he has written this work called Vyakarana Chandrodaya. Vyakarana Chandrodaya. I think it's a 5-volume set. So part of that is available in English, and luckily that part has the compounds and also has all the vibhaktis, vibhakti vicharaha. It's a very nice book. It is worth having. It is called Panini Reinterpreted. Panini Reinterpreted. This is by Charudev Shastriji. It's published by Motilal. So if you can happen to get this book, definitely get this book. It's nice and it's also authoritative, so published by Motilal. This was published actually after his death. This was published by his son. Means not published by his son, but it was given to publication. So one more time, this book by Charudev Shastriji, also a great scholar, one of the seniors of Bhimsen Shastriji, written this book called Panini Reinterpreted. If you can buy this book, please buy this book. It's in English. It's a very authoritative book, and it's because Shastriji only covers mainly Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. But this book will cover pretty much all the rules, like Siddhanta Kaumudi does, and it's in English. So it's nice, and it's also quite to the point, as the author says, and also authoritative. So one more time, is Panini Reinterpreted by Charudev Shastriji. I think it's available. I'm not sure, but I think it's available. Published by Motilal Banaras Siddharth. If you can get it, please get this book, because all the compounds we're doing in this class, all the compound, besides following Siddhanta Kaumudi, besides following Bhaimi Vyakhya, which only covers Laghu and some other things, this book will be very useful for you. If you can get this book, it will be useful for you. Okay. Okay, so let's now start on page number, 1 second please, excuse me 1 second. I'm sorry. Okay, we are on page number, I think I have the wrong page number here. We are on page number 123. Yeah, sorry. Page number 123. 123. So what I did today, I will put some notes in the document, so it will help us save us some time, I think. Let's try that. So, okay, let's go to page number 123 and see what it says. It says that we are in the Samas Anta Prakaranam. Tatpurusha samasa, so Tatpurushas. Now one thing again, just like we saw in the last lesson, is we have not done all the types of Tatpurusha compounds. So the derivation of these words, will be taking some steps which we have not discussed yet, so don't worry about those. Right now we're only talking about the samas anta prakriya. Samas anta. In this point number 187, it's only about samas anta pratyaya. So the Antoine has preferred to do it like this, where he covers the samas anta pratyaya first, and then he goes in detail of how to form these compounds. So the steps of actually forming these compounds have not been done by us yet. So don't worry about those steps. Only look at what's happening at the end of the compound and keep that in mind. So later on, when we do details, we'll be able to use these steps again over there. So samasanta pranam, to refresh our memory, that samasantaha is a part of tadhitaha. So they are tadhita pratyayas, but they are very special pratyayas in that they come in and they form the ending part of the compound. So this samasantaha is actually 6548068 samasan. This adhikara. So at the end of the tadhita section, of course, tadhita starts from 4176 tadhitaha. Always keep an eye on the Ashtadhyayi territory. Where are you in the Ashtadhyayi? Always keep that in mind. Tadhita starts from 4176. So this is inside the adhikara of pratyaha parascha, which starts from 311, 312. The adhikara of Ashtadhyayi, very, very important, the adhikaras. Because that you know who's in charge in that section, who has the power in that section. Just like when you go to another country, you need a visa and a passport and things like that. When you come to Ashtadhyayi adhikaraha, you need to know that what are the rules in that territory. So pratyaya parascha starts from 311, 312. It's the biggest adhikara in Ashtadhyayi. It goes into chapter 5, where Panini puts in place all these pratyayas. With the pratyaya means with the angam is created. And then after that, he goes to chapter 6, 7, 8 to finish up all the things over there, the angasya adhikara and then the sandhikaram, etc. So pratyaya parascha. Within that, here this dhatu adhikara runs through most of third chapter, dhatu. Then comes 412. I know most of you know all of this, but I'm just recapping one more time. Nyap pratipadika. Nyap pratipadika starts from 411. So starting from 411, the pratyayas can only be used nyap pratipadika. Unless you have pratipadikam, you cannot use this pratyaya starting from 411. And of course, the famous one is so just, which we have already used many times. That one. Then comes Striyam adhikara. Striyam adhikara starts from 413. After that, there is the Tadhita adhikara. There is also a small overlap between the Striyam adhikara and the Tadhita adhikara. Tadhita, there is a small overlap. But it starts from 4176, Tadhita starts, and then that goes to the end of chapter 5. At the end of that, at the end of chapter 5, comes this Samasantaha 5468. So that's today's topic for the first part of the class, is Samasantaha. Now, Samasantaha, we already seen some of these rules that, first Panini starts about the Samasantaha for the, Samanyana Vidhanam. Doesn't mean you have Tatpurusha compound, or Bahubari compound, or Dvandva compound. He just gives some rules. But all types of samasas will take certain samasanta pratyayaha. And then Panini goes and starts saying Tatpurushasyangulehe sankhya vyayadehe. From here, Panini starts special means these are only for Tatpurusha compound. And they go up to this 54105. And then 54106, which we used in the last class, which I also forgot in one class, is the Dvandva Chuda Shahantat Samahare. Which have a Samahara compound ending in one of these consonants, you have to put the pratyaya, is touch. So 54106 we used in the section on 54106, 54106. It says Chavarganta, the Shahanta Cha, Dvandva touch Samahare. When we saw that thing about Sampad Vipade, so that one is in the last lesson that we used this touch. Okay. So now, in the Siddhanta Kaumudi, where are we? Siddhanta Kaumudi numbers, we can also start getting a hang of these numbers. We are roughly in, let's see, 5-4. The number is, okay. So if you look at the Ditasya, which is 7, we are Sarvahika 89. I think there's a typo here. This should be 5486. Okay, the typo here. we're number 786, roughly speaking, in Siddhanta Kaumudi. We are looking at number 786. So now you can also keep an eye on the Siddhanta Kaumudi. Luckily, we don't have the whole Siddhanta Kaumudi online, but we have this particular section that we need for this class. It needs to be edited, but we are using that. So number 786, the Siddhanta Kaumudi. So we can start with that. Tatpurushasyangulehe sankhya vyayadehe. Any new sutram, repeat it 5, 10, 50, 20, 100 times. The best thing you can do, slowly, sutras will start making sense to you. Will start making, giving a coherent picture. Even if you don't understand what the sutra means, doesn't matter. Keep on repeating, and slowly you'll, have the jnana, and the jnana will come to you from inside. That sutras have the power to do that. They have the power to give you that knowledge. Tatpurushasyangulehe sankhya vyayadehe. Tatpurushasyangulehe sankhya vyayadehe. And then next thing, read the vritti from Siddhanta Kaumudi. It says sankhya vyayadehe angulyantasya. This is only for a tatpurusha compound ending in a single word anguli. Always make a note of what is the domain of the sutram you're trying to use. What is the domain of that sutram? How big it is? This is a pretty small domain. It's talking only of a tatpurusha compound which has a specific word anguli at the end. So, and then what happens to that tatpurushasya? Samasantaha. Samasanto ach syat. Satya ach comes here. And let's look at this example. Nirgatam mangulibhyo nirangulam. Let's look at this example. Again, there are some other examples also. Let's take just one example. So one more time. We are in the Samasantaha section. Samasantaha section. We start from 5468. And within that, we are now going to come to a special section. We start with Tatpurushasya in that section. And the first one we are taking is that when the word anguli is the end of a Tatpurusha compound, and then if it's preceded by a sankhya vachaka shabdaha or an avyayam, it's also a condition. In fact, if I can read you from the book which I just mentioned to you of Charudev Shastriji, he says in English, a Tatpurusha compound gets the ach pratyaya, which is samasanta pratyaya, when the first member is either a numeral, either a number, or an indeclinable avyayam, and the second member is the word anguli. One more time, Tatpurusha compound gets the achya samasanta pratyaya when the first member is either a number or a indeclinable avyayam, and the latter member is anguli. Okay. So this, by the way, I'm on page number 156 of that book, which is the book I mentioned to you in the class, Panini Reinterpreted. Okay. So, okay, of course this is in Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi also is there, but it's in English, might be easier for you. That's what it is. Let's look at the example. Put the example document for us. So, Nirgatam angulibhyaha. In the Bhaimi Vyakhya, this is on page number 155 of volume number 4. So, Nirgatam angulibhyaha nirangulam, that which has slipped out, which has come out from the fingers. Something which has come out of the fingers. Now, it could be a ring or something like that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Atyadishchat Dashangulam.
Atyadishchat Dashangulam, yes, yeah. Dashangulam, yes. Atyadishchat Dashangulam, yes. That Dashangulam, that comes in, that's the pratyaya ach seen at the end. Very good, thank you. So Purush Suktam, Atyadishchat Dashangulam. Dashangulam, you see in the, of course, that's a Vedic usage, but thank you, it's a good example. We see the pratyaya ach coming at the Dashangulam. So if you see anguli becomes angula, Dashangulam. And because you check all the conditions, there is a sankhya vachaka shabda prior to that, Dashangulam. So it has to be Tatpurusha compound, also we need to check that also. Good. So Nirgatam angulibhyaha. First of all, what kind of, this is qualifying something, maybe anguliyakam. Anguliyaka is a ring. Could be anything, but this is just qualifying something. Now, first of all, we have to find a sutram in 2.1 or 2.2 which will authorize this compound. Samasa vidhayakam sutram kutra vartate. Dvitiyasya prathame pade asva dvitiya pade. So where is that sutram? We have not done these compounds yet. That's what I was telling you in the class. These compounds we are going to do in later lessons. It's called pradi samasa. So don't worry about the details of how the compound is formed right now. I'll give you a sutram, but it is not. Don't worry if you don't understand that. we are only going to look at how this anguli takes the, this niranguli takes the ashvatya at the end. So the sutram here is that nir plus anguli plus bhya, nirgatam anguli bhya. So this is of course the laukika vigraha vakyam. This is the alaukika vigraha vakyam. Again, if you notice any errors on the page, let me know. I tabbed this up ahead of time to save us some time. So I'll try to do that going forward. So I don't want to spend time typing in the class. So it'll save us some. We can go, save us some time, and also hopefully make less errors also. But if you see any errors on this page, let me know. Sutram is kugati pradaya. The vartikam on that is niradayaha krantyadyarthe panchamya. So this one is, don't worry about this too much right now, but let's go to Siddhanta Kaumudi, niradeha krantya. So on the 2.2.18, the sutram kugati pradayaha. Kugati pradayaha. So this means that the word ku and the gati sanyakas, of course gati will, it's not today's topic, but gati comes back in this 1.4, this pradaya upasarga kriya yoge gatischa. So those words which get the gati sanya, which is going to come in 1.4 gatischa. So all these ones over here which get the gati sanya from 1.4.60 down to about 1.4.79. So these and the pradis, which are of course the 22, what we normally call upasarga. Upasarga only kriya yoge. Upasargas are only kriya yoge. So the pradis list should be well known to you. As I said, this list you should keep handy. What is the pradayaha? So pradayaha are pra, para, apa, sam, anu, ava, nis, nir, dus, dur, vi, ang, ni, adhi, api, ati, su, ut, abhi, prati, pari, upa. So pradi ganaha. This is a ganaha, the set of words. So now what happened with these pradayaha is that it says kugati pradaya. So either the avyayam ku or these what which gets the gati sanya or the pradis samarthena shabdantarena saha nityam samasyate. Now what is nitya samasaha? Nitya samasaha means swapada vigraha vakyam na sambhavati. You cannot make a swapada vigraha vakyam from a nitya samasaha. So nitya samasaha. It's called satpurusha samasa bhavati. If you look at the vigraha vakyam of this samasa, it says nirgatam angulibhya. You cannot just use the nir and the anguli to make a vigraha vakyam. This is called nitya samasaha. Nitya samasaha. In the Ashtadhyayi, if you look back on the Ashtadhyayi over here, that anuvritti of nityam comes from this, I think, the prior sutram itself. This 2.2.18 is kugati pradaya, and within that there is the anuvritti of nityam. Nityam krida jivika yoho. So this sutram 2.2.18 has been used to form this compound. Nirangulam. If you go to Siddhanta Kaumudi for 2.2.18, let's see what the Kaumudi says. The Kaumudi says for 2.2.18, this is number 761 in the Siddhanta Kaumudi, which says ete means kugati pradaya. These three. Samarthena nityam samasyante. So example is kutsitaha purushaha kupurushaha. Now this will be topic of a later lesson. In a later lesson, we will look at the sutram in great detail. There will be a lesson which will talk about gati samasas and pradi samasas also. So that time we look at the sutram in detail and look at all the nuances of that. But let's look at the vartikam which we need right now on 2.2.18. There's a vartikam. There are various vartikani in that sutram, which says niradayaha. Okay, let me look at the vartikam here. Niradayaha krantadyarthe panchamya. This is a vartikam. Niradayaha. So words nir, etc. Words of the means avyayani. These are in the pradi. Within the pradis, not all of them. So nir and some others. We don't know exactly which others. But right now we have nir. Niradayaha krantadyarthe. In the meaning of one which has gone beyond that. Panchamya. So nishkrantaha, kaushambyaha, nishkaushambi. There's some typos here. So there is so nishkran, one who has left the city of Kaushambi, is the nishkaushambi. So that is the example given under this sutram. So one more time is this nir, etc. Some of the paradis can be used in the sense of kranta, kranta. So krantyadi means who has gone out, who has exited. So nishkranta is one who has gone out. Kaushambi, nishkaushambi. So nishkranta kaushambyaha nishkaushambi. Sorry, nishkranta kaushambyaha. Nishkranta nishkaushambihi. So that is the Vartikam which we are using to form this compound, and we'll get back to its detail in a later lesson. Okay, so when using this Vartikam, the Niradeha Krantyadyarthe Panchamya, this is the one. Niradeha Krantyadyarthe Panchamya. This is the Vartikam under 2.2.18, which allows you to form this kind of compound using a paradis. Some of the paradis, nir, etc. In these meanings, kranta, etc. meanings kranta, dyarthe, and we can form a tatpurusha compound. So what we have right now is that it says nir plus nirgatam angulibhyaha. So which has come out. Nirgatam means to exit out, which has slipped out or dropped from the fingers. So this nir could be used. Now, in that, first of all, before we go any further, let me remind you one more time that in that Samasa Vidhayaka Sutram, which you're saying Paradayaha, this term, Kugati Paradayaha, in the Samasa Vidhayaka Sutram is Prathama Bahuvachanam. Prathama Lekharayaha. So, Kugati Paradayaha in the Sutram 2.2.18 is Prathama Bahuvachanam. So, in the Samasa Vidhayaka Sutram, of course, we are using a Vartikam on that, but that's okay. In this Samasa Vidhayaka Sutram, this term ku gati paradaya is prathama bhavachanam. So then what happens there? Always determine which term is going to get the purva nipataha. Which term is going to get the purva nipataha. Which term is going to go first in the compound, which one is going to go second. And the rule which we use here is that which is 1.2.43 is prathama nirdishtam samasa upasarjanam. Prathama nirdishtam samasa upasarjanam. We talked about this when we did the Dvandva compounds. In Dvandva compound, this could not help us because there what happened was that we are getting the anuvritti of anekam. When we did Dvandva compounds, we could not use this sutram very effectively, which is the Prathama nirdishtam samasa upasarjanam purvam. But the normal technique, now very, very important fundamental technique, of to determine which term will go first in a samasa, which term will, of course, remaining term will go second, is this technique of prathama nirdishtam samasa upasarjanam purvam. In the samasa vidhayaka sutram, in the sutram which authorizes the compound, which is the term which is in the prathama vibhakti. Now it could be coming by anuvritti also is possible. The term might be, anuvritti might be coming down. So that will get the sanya of upasarjanam. Upasarjanam here is a technical term. The sutram prathama nirdishtam samase, it is samase upasarjanam. In a compound, means samasa vidhayaka sutre, which is prathama nirdishtam, the sanya upasarjanam, then upasarjanam purvam, push that one first, 2.2.30, push that one first. Now, when we did Dvandva compound, we could not use this because of the fact that in the Charthe Dvandvaha, we had anuvritti of anekam coming down there. Anekam is prathama nirdishtam. So all the terms of a Dvandva compound will get the sanya of upasarjanam. Same thing in a bahuvrihi. Same thing in a bahuvrihi compound. So then there's no point in saying upasarjanam purvam because all of them will have a claim for the purnipataha. So that is why Panini has to put special rules for the Dvandva compound and the bahuvrihi compound to determine which goes first. We already saw those rules in the last lesson, Dvandveghi, Ajad Yadantam and Alpashtaram. And for Bahuvris also he has rules below that. There is coming below that. So now these are not necessary for the Tatpurusha compound. Tatpurusha compound we use our default technique, which is the Prathama Nirdishtam Samasa Upasajanam. One more time, which is you can hear this over and over again. So we might as well master this right now. This has to be clearly understood right now, which is that in the Samasa Vidhayaka Sutram, in the Sutram, which authorizes the compound, which is Prathama Nirdishtam, the term which is in Prathama, that will get the sanya of Upasajanam by Prathama Nirdishtam Samasa Upasajanam. And then When it has upasajana sanya, it's going to go upasajanam purvam. That's going to be the earlier member. So one more time, because it's very, very important concept, is in the Samasa Vidhayaka Sutram, always find out which is Pratama Nirdishtam, which term is in Pratama. It might become an Anuvritti. It's possible, like in Charte Dvandva, Anuvritti of Anekam came down there. But right now for us, we have Kugati Pradayaha, 2 to 18. So that is Pratama Bhavachanam. So much Bhavachanam or Ekavachanam, which shall be Pratama Vibhakti. So the Ku or the Gatisanya Sanyaka Shabdaha or the Pradi, that will go first in the compound because of Upasajanam Purvam. So using these two rules, so please practice these in any compound. This is what determines which one goes first. Upasajanam Purvam, then of course we saw this Gana, which is some exceptions here, which is the Raja Danta Dishuparam, these are the exception Gana. And then we saw, as we just discussed, in Dvandva compounds, there are, because we cannot use effectively this Upasajanam Purvam, because in Dvandva compound, every term gets Sanya Upasajanam. Same thing in Bahuvari, Panini has special rules for that, but right now we can use this very well, Upasajanam Purvam. So what happens is that when we say Nir, this Kugati Paradeha, this Pratama Bahuvachanam, the Paradi, this Nir, Pratama Nirdishtam, the Paradi, and then Upasajanam Purvam. So Nir gets the Purnipataha by Pratama Nirdishtam Samasi Upasajanam. It gets the Upasajana Sanya first, then Upasajanam Purvam, Purvam, with Nir, Anguli, and then Bhyaha, just Anguli Bhyaha. Nirgatam, so this is the Laukika Vigrahavakyam in regular parlance, and this is the Alaukika Vigrahavakyam. You can see this is a Nitya Samasaha because Sapada Vigraham Nasti. We cannot just use Nir, we have to use something with that. So Nirgatam Anguli Bhyaha. Now before we go on, again, this is not today's topic, but how is this compound different from a compound like Vidhava? So what is the subtle difference between, because there also you have a Pradi, you also have Pradi, and there is a participle which is missing there also. So we say a word like Vidhava. It says Vigataha, Dhavaha, Yasyaha, Sa. So she is one whose husband has passed away. So Vidhava. Now how is that different from this one here? What is different between these two? So this is not today's topic, but I want to mention because this looks like a Bahuvari compound. Looks like it is not a Bahuvari compound. The reason different in Bahuvari is that Anekam Anya Padarthe. The test of a Bahuvari is that nothing in the compound should directly qualify the term which is indicated by the compound. So in the Bahuvari compound, the real test is that it should be Anekam Anya Padarthe. Should be Anekam Anya Padarthe. So this Sutram Bahuvari compound Anekamanya Padarthe. So we say a word Vidhava, talk about Vigataha, Dhavaha, Yasyaha Sa. So that word Vigataha is qualifying the husband, not the woman. Not the woman. This is a very important point. Is when we say Vidhava, we made the Vigraha Vakya, it's a Bahuvari compound, because Vigataha, Dhavaha, Yasyaha Sa. So yes, that Vigataha also is a participle form. But that is not qualifying the Nari, who has a Pradhanyam, because the entire compound refers to the Nari. She is the widow whose husband has passed away. But the participle in the compound, which is Vigataha, is qualifying not the Nari, but the Dhavaha, so Pati. But here what do we have? When we have here the Nirgatam Angulibhya, this Nirgatam is directly qualifying the Anguliyakam whatever. So this is not a Bahuvari compound. I hope you follow this point I'm trying to make, is that because this Nirangulam looks similar to the compound Vidhava, but this is not the same. Because even though in either of these cases there is a participle form which is dropped, in this case the Nirgatam is directly qualifying the Anguliyakam or whatever it might be, which is the meaning of the compound. But in the Vidhava compound, it is not the case because the Vigataha is qualifying not the Nari, but the Dhavaha only. So that is why Vidhava is a Bahuvari compound, because nothing in the compound directly qualifies the Nari. Well, here this is not a Bahuvari compound, because Nirgatam directly qualifies an adjective directly for the Anguliyakam, whatever it might be. So this is on the side. We look at this in detail in later lessons, what's Paradi, what's Bahuvari. But since you're talking about it right now, I just want to clarify this point, that why is it not a Bahuvari compound? That's the point which I just made. I hope you understood some of it. So then we continue. we got the Purva Nipata. So these two steps are very, very fundamental. Pratama Nidishtam Samasa Upasajanam Purvam. So please memorize this for today. These are to be automatic now. These two are going to be automatic from now on. Automatic. This is automatic. And then of course these two also we already memorized, which is we get the Kritadita Samasascha, get the Pratipadika Sanya. You see how these sanyas come into bearing, See when Panini defines the Upasajana Sanya, how it creates, how it is used by Panini. Where is Panini used? Any sanya which you when you uncover, always ask where does Panini use this sanya? Of course, the Siddhanta Kaumudi, Bhattoji will only take up the sanya when he needs it. So immediately in the Kaumudi Prakriya, you will immediately know where sanya is being used. In the Kashika, in the Vyakhyanam, he will mention immediately at least some example of where the sanya is used. Sanya. So in any Sanya Vidhayaka Sutram, in the Kashika Vyakhyanam, he will mention at least one application of where the sanya is used. The Siddhanta Kaumudi is going to be obvious because the sanya will only be taken. There is a prayojanam in the prakriya at that point. Okay, so we've seen two of them. We saw Upasajanam sanya here, which helped us with the Upasajanam Purvam. And this is not the only prayojanam Upasajana sanya. It's not the only prayojanam. There will be others. So don't think it's the only prayojanam, but this is the main prayojanam for us right now. Upasajanam Purvam. Then of course we get Kukati Pradayaha. Kritadita Samasascha, Pradipadika Sanya, and then Supo Dhatu Pradipadikayoho. These should be automatic now. These two are automatic for us now from now on, and so are these two. So one more time, Pratama Nidishtam Samas Upasajanam Purvam, then Kukati, Kritadita Samasascha, Pradipadika Sanya, and then Supo Dhatu Pradipadikayoho Supluk. So inside of Pradipadikam, the sup cannot remain as a general rule. So nir plus anguli. And now comes this pratyaya. So let's check all the conditions. We are applying 5486. So let's check all the conditions. Before applying any sutram, always check the vritti. Please make it a good habit to check the vritti in the Siddhanta Kaumudi. Before applying any sutram, just check the vritti. There's a typo, and this typo should be 86, not 89. It should be 5486. There's a typo over here. Sankhya Vyayadehe. We have the avyayam. Remember, one more time, is we have this pradis which comes in 1.4. So first of all, we get the nipata sanya, prat rishwaran nipataha. So they are the pradeha get the nipata sanya, and then they get the avyaya sanya by surad nipatam avyayam. As I mentioned in every class, is please try to follow the daily examples, because they are going to be the backbone of these classes. So all these daily examples over here, which are coming to you, so that is going to be, so this has already been covered in daily examples. Is what is pradi, what is nipata sanya, what is avyaya sanya. It's already been covered in all these examples. Okay, so they are going to be the backbone of these classes, is the examples, because classes are limited amount of time. And we cannot take many examples in the class, but we can take examples every day. Those are very fundamental to these classes. So, and of course, if you can go through them, let us know if there are any errors, anything like that. It will be very useful. So this nir has the sanya of avyayam, and it is a tatpurusha compound, which we just saw. Why is tatpurusha compound? Because tatpurusha adhikaraha goes up to this 2 to 22. 2 to 22, from 2122 up to 2222 tatpurusha adhikaraha. And right now we are using a sutram kugati pradeha. So this is a tatpurusha compound. It has an avyayam in the beginning, so we can use this. So everything satisfies sankhya vyayadehe angulyantasya tatpurushasya samasanto vachyat nirgatam angulibhya nirangulam. So come back to document here is that. So niranguli plus ach, of course by halantyam the chakara is gone, so only anubandha lope akara vashishyate. And then what happens is that we get the sanya of bha sanya, yachibham, another sanya which is very, very useful, atyupyogi. So atyupyogini sanya, which is the Bhasanya, which is Yachibham. Of course, we know that we said many times in Subandha Prakaranam, but to remind you one more time, when this Sutram 1.4.17 it says Swadishva Sarvanamasthane. So the Swadi Pratyayas is not only Su of just those 21, but they go to the end of 5th chapter. So Swadi, when Panini says Swadi, he's referring not just to this 412 sutram, he's talking about all sutrani from pratyas coming from this pratyaya su in the Swadi, in the su of just sutram, all the way to chapter 5. So all these 3 pratyas as well as all tadhitaha referred to by Panini as Swadi. In the Sutram 1417, Swadishva Sarvanamastane, Yachibham is the next Sutram. So right now we are using 5486. So this pratyaya which we are using, which is Ach, is also in the Swadi. So Yachibham, it is beginning with a Ach, Angam gets the Basanya. Also very fundamental technique. Very fundamental technique. When you add any pratyaya which is sanya of the Swadi, which is or Tadita pratyaya. When you add in Tadita pratyaya, immediately ask the question, is the Angam getting the Padasanya or is the Angam getting the Bhasanya? And if you get the Bhasanya, you have to go to the Bhasyadhikaraha, which is the 64129. So if when you add any Swadi pratyaya and the Taditas are included in that, you have to ask the question, because if the pratyaya begin with an ach or a yakara, angam gets the bhasanya, and when you get the bhasanya, you have to call the subroutine. It's like a computer program. It calls the subroutine bhasya. This is a computer program, So immediately it calls the subroutine and see that any line in the subroutine is going to apply to your situation. So bhasya means you come to this adhikara. If the angam gets the padasanya, then you have to come to the adhikara of padasya adhikara. So one more time. When you add in Swadi pratyaya, including Rama Shabda also. When you do Rama Shabda also, you have to do the same thing. But there's no karyam, that doesn't matter. Any Swadi pratyaya. We're talking about the sub pratyayas, we're talking about the sir pratyaya, we're talking about the pratyayas. Always make it a habit. Always make it a habit is which sanya is the angam it is. It either has to get the bhasanya or the padasanya, except the sarvanamasthanam follows. Sarvanamasthanam, only in that case the angam gets neither bhasanya nor padasanya. So right now we are using this samasanta pratyayaha, which is part of the Swadi pratyayaha. So here the angam, the pratyaya is ach, is aja, the angam. So we are going to get the bhasanya by yachibham, and then after that comes a very important sutram, yasyeti cha, which was seen previously, yasyeti cha. Yasyeti cha says that if you have a angam which has the bhasanya, because in the bhasyadhikaraha, which ends in the E varna or the A varna. So E varnantasya, A varnantasya, bhasanyakasyangasya loposyat, tadhite yikare chapare. Tadhite yikare chapare. So 64168 is very important sutram. 64168 is one of the most important rules in the bhasyadhikaraha. One of the most important rules, repeat one more time, is that E varnantasya, A varnantasya, cha bhasya. It has to angamesha the bhasanya. Should be ending in E varna or E varnanta or A varnanta. Then it takes the lopaha. But when tadhite yikare chapare, there's a typo here. Tadhite yikare chapare. Tadhite yikare chapare. So if you have the yikar, which is three pratyaya, which you don't have right now. Right now we don't have the yikaraha. We have the pratyaya ach right now. Ach is akara is there. But ach has sanya of tadhita because ach was brought in by 5486. Means in the tadhita adhikaraha, tadhitaha. So right now we have a pratyaya which is a tadhita sanya. Angam is ending in the ikaraha, anguli, niranguli. So we have ivarnantam angam, and it has the bhasanya by yachibham. It's followed by pratyaya which is tadhita sanya, and so it's going to get the lopaha, alontyasya. There's a typo here. Says that ivarnantasya, avarnantasya bhasya ikare pare tadhite cha pare lopaha. So 64148 is a very important sutta. We've seen many times going forward. 64148 is yasyeti cha. Of course, then we use alontyasya, alone. That's straight for alontyasya. Nirangul plus a, and then we get nirangula. So now we got nirangula. So basically, by bringing the pratyaya ach, angam getting the bhasanya, using yasyeti cha, we got the ikar lopaha, and by alontyasya, and then nirangula. Now, normally we have sutram paraval lingam dvandva tatpurushayoho. Paraval lingam. In dvandva compound or tatpurusha compound, the lingam of the samasta padasya lingam will be paravatta. Paravat, which is like the second member of the compound, Paravat Lingam, Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. Now that has a Vartikam on that. That's according to that sutram, this Anguli, if Anguli is a feminine, then Nirangula should have become feminine. You get a pratyaya tap on top of that, which is what we don't want here. So right now, if the word Anguli if the Anguli is feminine, it will become feminine. Because Paravalingam, don't forget that this is Kugati Pradeha, is part of the Adhikara of Tatpurushaha. So Tatpurusha Adhikaraha. So Paravalingam Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. Tatpurusha Adhikara goes from 2122 up to 2222. So we are using 2118 Tatpurushaha. So there is a Vartikam on that sutram, Paravalingam Dvandva Tatpurusha as a Vartikam, which says that the Dvigu Praptapannalam Purva and Gati Samaseshu Pratishedo Vaktavyaha. One more time. Dvigu Praptapannalam Purva, then Gati Samaseshu Pratishedo Vaktavyaha. This Paravalingam Tatpurushayoho. We don't need the entire Vartikam for today. In Dvigu Samasas and these couple of Samasas here and Gati. Now in this sutram, the Gati refers to the Pradi Samasa. Pradi Samas. It's also strange use of Panini, but here in this Vartikam, this Katyayana I should say, in this Vartikam, this Gati refers to the Pradi Samasaha. Pradi Samasaha. So basically what bottom line is that when you have a Pradi Samasaha, that Samasa will not take Paravalingam. Paravalingam. That Samasa will generally be an adjective. It may be an adjective. So depending on the meaning of the compound, you see what the meaning of the compound is and determine the gender from that. So here our meaning was the Nirgatam Angulibhya. It's qualifying something which has come out of the fingers. So if we take it as like a Anguliyakam, which is a ring, Napumsaka Lingam, then the Lingam will be Napumsakam. So in our meaning right now, it's going to be it's a neuter Pradipadikam. So one more time, Paravalingam Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. If you look at that sutram, there is a Vartikam on that. The Vartikam and Paravalingam Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. So 2426 is the important Vartikam, which says for a Pradi Samasaha, this rule does not apply. So it says the Dvigu Prapta Pannalam Purva Gati Samaseshu Pratishedo Vaktavyaha. So Dvigu compounds, and then those which have the words Prapta, Apanna and Alam, and then the this one, Nishkranta Kausham, see Nishkranta Kausham Vyaha. So that was so the Kausham Vi, is a feminine word, but his Nishkausham Vi, it became masculine. So that is the sutram, which is Paravalingam, Tatpurushayoho, that does not apply to Pradi Samasa. It's a Vartikam which excludes the Pradi Samasas from taking Paravalingam. So when you have Nirangula right now, it's going to qualify that Anguliyakam, which if you take it, if it's taking qualifying something neuter, or Samanya Napumsakam, something Samanyam, then it will be the neuter gender. So okay. So now if you make it neuter, then of course if you define like Vana Pradipadikam, so when we take Nirangula, remember this entire Samudaya has a sanya of Pradipadikam because Kutadita Samasascha. So it got in fact it got a Pradipadika sanya when we made the Samasa itself. And on top of that we added a Pratyaya with Tadita Pratyaya. Remember that Tadita is Samasantaha. The Pratyaya became the ending member of the compound itself. Became the ending member, so it kind of absorbed in the compound itself. So Nirangula is the entire Samastapadam now. Samasanta Pratyaya, it is already an after Samasa, it becomes part of the Samasa, but that's called Samasantaha. So this is a Sanya Pratipadikam, Kosu Avjas, and then we get Atoam, which is if you have Adantamangam and it's Napumsakalingya, then Su and gets the Anka Adesha of Now we should have had the Samo Napusakat, but Atoam, this is just like Vana Pratipadikam. So we get the Ammadeshaha, and then we use Amipurvaha. We get Nirangulam. Now the next thing so this is one example of this one more time. This was the Anguli, single word Anguli, which is at the end of Tatpurusha compound, and then it has to be preceded by a Sankhya Vachaka Shabda or an Avyayam. So this is the संख्या व्यादेः अंगुल्यन्tasya tatpurushasya samasanto achyat. Okay, so the next thing that he has given in the book is this thing which says that go becomes gava, parama gavaha, which is a supreme bull, parama gavaha. Now what sutram is that? That is 5492. So 5490. Let's go at 5492 Siddhanta Kaumudi. What does that say? So 5492. This is only for the go pratipadikam now. Only for the pratipadikam go. And what it says is that go anta tat purushat. One more time, we are in this adhikara, which is tat purushasya. So we are still in the same adhikara, which is going from the, actually, anuvritti I can say. So tat purushasya anuvritti is coming down here up to 54105. So right now we're looking at 5492, which is only talk about this the pratipadikam go. So go ho atat dite luki. Atat dite luki. So gora tadjita luki, I'm sorry. So gora tadjita luki says that, we'll look at the vritti now, this is go ho atadjita luki. So go antat tat purushat. So if you have the purusha compound ending in the pratipadikam go. Now of course go has many meanings, of course go also goes in the gender of feminine and masculine. So go can mean a cow, or it can also mean a bull. Of course go can also have other meaning like Vani, it can mean the Vedas, it can mean a lot of things. But right now we look at the meaning of a bull. So that is so go. So, but it can mean any meaning. So here it only doesn't say which meaning. In any of those meanings, it says go anta tat purushat, touch syat. Pratyaka means touch. Samasantaha. But no tadita lukhi. This we can ignore for the time being. Is that if you have a tadita pratyaka which has taken the look, then this will not happen. If we have a situation, we are bringing a tadita pratyaya, which is taking the look elision, which we are not doing right now. Right now we are not doing that. So this part you can ignore for today. No tadita lukhi. So it will not be applicable for us today. We are not doing any such operation, which will be maybe we'll see later on. But right now we are not doing that. So this condition of atadita lukhi, you can ignore for the time being. So just focus on the part go ho. So Gora tadjita lukhi, it says that go antat tat purushat tach samas tachyat samasantaha no tadjita lukhi. So this part we don't need today. We're not going to be using that. It says, so let's now come back to example here. In the book also he has given an example, which is paramagavaha. Paramagavaha is the example. So when you look at paramagavaha, it is we can now use a karmadharya compound. Again, these compounds we are not studying in detail yet, so don't worry exactly how this compound was formed. We are going to use this sutram, which is Visheshanam Visheshyena Bahulam. Visheshanam Visheshyena Bahulam. Very simply speaking, we have an adjective, noun, adjective, and what it qualifies. That can form a Karmadharya compound, because Karmadharya is a subset of the Purusha compounds. Look at the number again, using 2157. This is Adhikara of Tatpurusha Adhikaraha. So Tatpura as we saw in a couple of classes ago, goes from 2122 up to 2222, and within that from 2149 starts the Samana Adhikaranena, and there one of the main sutram here is Visheshanam Visheshyena Bahulam. So Visheshanam is Prathamanidishtam in the compound. The adjective will go first by Prathamanidishtam Samasa Upasajanam Purvam. And so the thing which is the adjective will go first. The thing which is being qualified will go second. Will form a Karmadharya compound. And this is a subset of the Purusha compounds. If you remember from which we did that last time also, is that Tatpurushaha Samanadhikaranaha Karmadharyaha. Again, don't worry too much about this. We'll come back to this. There'll be a later lesson devoted to Karmadharya compounds. So we're going to see this all in great detail in a later lesson of exactly how the various ways Karmadharya compounds are formed. For the time being, we can just look at the vritti in the Siddhanta Kaumudi. Visheshanam Visheshyena Bahulam is 2157. It's also kind of straightforward rule. You can take an adjective and a thing which it qualifies. It can be like a Shura Purushaha. I mean, a lot of Karmadharya compounds, straightforward compounds. Even in English also, you can have these compounds. It says that Bhedakam Samanadhikaranena Bhedyena. That is Bhedakam, which qualifies that thing. Something it distinguishes in some way. Samadhikaranena Bhedyena. The thing which is being qualified. Bahulam Pragvas. So Neelam Utpalam Neelotpalam. This is a blue lotus. Anyway, so on and so forth. We'll come back to this in a future lesson. We'll have a full lesson on Karmadharya compounds, so we'll look at that. So we'll use a sutram right now, but we need to mention that because even though right now it doesn't concern us so much, we have to start there the first step. Always, 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 always the first step in any compound whatsoever, you have to find one sutram in 2.1 or 2.2 to authorize the compound. Remember that. So we cannot show any compound without that. So 2.157, Visheshanam, Visheshana Bahulam. Then of course, because the word Visheshanam, Prasamanidishtam in the compound, we get Prasamanidishtam Samasa Upasajanam. So this word Parama, we'll get the Sanya of Upasajanam Purvam. We already saw that. So the Laukika Vigraha Vakyam is Paramaschaso Gauhu, Paramagavaha. The Alaukika Vigraha Vakyam is Paramasu, thus Gosu. The technical breakdown is Paramasu, Gosu. Again, this should be automatic for you now. Kutadita Samasascha Pradipadika Sanya, Supodhati Pradipadika Yoho, take Supluk, so Paramago. Now at this time, we have to apply Pratyaya touch. So we can use the sutram, Gora Tadita Luki, Gora Tadita Luki. We don't have any Tadita look happening over here. So we go back to again Siddhanta Kaumudi one more time. It's 549. Look at the, always go back to the vritti. Always keep on going back to vritti and see if everything is satisfied for us. It says, Go antat tatpurushat. We do have that. We are using 2.157. Visheshanam, Visheshana Bahulam. That is coming to Tatpurusha Adhikaraha. So we do have Tatpurusha compound. It's also Go Shabdantat. So Go Antat. So what happens? Samasanta Touch Pratyasyat. We have that. And Asadita Luki, which we don't have to worry about this. We didn't do any look of any Pratyaya over here. So we can Pratyaya touch comes over here by Gora Tadita Luki. Pratyaya touch Anubandha Lope Chutu Halantyam. We get Akaraha Vashishyate. And then we do Echo Yavayavaha. Becomes Parama Gav becomes Echo Yavayavaha. Then Parama Gavaha. Again, this has a sanya of Prajabadikam. Kutadita Samasascha, which is required because this Supratyaya cannot come until it gets the Prajabadika sanya. So Prajabadika sanya it does have because Adhikara of Nyap Pratipadikat. So which we saw before. So once we form the Prajabadikam, we can decline because this is called, this means a supreme bull. So Parama Gavaha, of course, usual rules, Upadesha Jananasikaitasya Lopaha, and then Sahajisho Ruhu and Karavasanayor Visarjaniya. Straightforward. So Parama Gavaha. So one more time, if you have this word go, at the end of a Tatpurusha compound, and there's no Tadita look happening, then it takes the Pratyaya touch. So it is Gora Tadita Luki. So one more time, the vritti over here is that Goantat, Tatpurushat, Tachyat, Samasanto, na Tadita Luki. Let's take one more example for you here, this is the example from the book, given in the book. Now let's look at one more, is Pungavaha. Pungava is a very famous word. It is also used figuratively, like you can say Manava Pungavaha. It's the best of that class. Anyway, the word Pungavaha means bull, a masculine cow, bull. Actually, masculine cow. I'm sorry. A Go Shabda, which is masculine, so which is basically going to mean a bull. It's going to mean a bull. So Pungavaha. So now, how is that formed? Take the Prajabadikam Pums. Pums is this case means masculine. Male means male. It's going to qualify the Go Shabda over here. So we take the Prajabadikam Pums and same kind of Vigraha Vakyam Pumamshchasau Gauhu. So it is the Go which is masculine. So take Pums, all the same steps. These are same steps also over here. We can say the Visheshanam Visheshana Bahulam with the compound. Then in this male is qualifying the Go. So it is the Visheshanam. So it's Prasamanidishtam Samas Upasajanam Purvam. Then what happens is only one step over here is that, of course, same thing again, Kutadita Samasascha, Supodhatu Pradmadika Yoho. Then we get the Pratyaya touch, Gora Tadita Luki. We get Samasanta, we have Tatpurusha Samas, we have Tatpurusha compound, which has the Go Shabda at the end. There's no Tadita look happening over here. Remember, one more thing to remind you is that we are in a section of Tatpurushasya. We are using 5492 right now. That is in the anuvritti of Tatpurushasya. So you have to make sure the Tatpurusha compound, which is fine. because we are using 2157. Tatpurusha Adhikara, it is there, which you will find. So now what happens, you do Echo Yava Yavaha, becomes Gav, so Pums plus Gava, Pums plus Gava. And then what happens is that when we bring it to the decline it, again, this is a masculine Paravalingam in this case, Paravalingam, 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 because the Uttarapadam here is Go, using in the sense of masculine, so it's going to be Ramavat Shabdaha, Ramavat Shabdaha. So Paravalingam then Dhanat Tatpurushayoho. So 2426 Paravalingam Dhanat Tatpurushayoho, 2426 Paravalingam. So maybe we should put that over here, 2426, 2426, 2426 Paravalingam Dhanat Tatpurushayoho, Paravalingam. So 2426, and down here also 2426 Paravalingam. Only extra step over here is that we have to do Sanyogantasya Lopaha. Sanyogantasya Lopaha. Sanyogantasya Lopaha. So when we got Pums plus Gava, now this Pums has the Padasanya, because we had Pums plus Su. Even though we did Supluk, Pratyaya Lope Pratyaya Lakshanam, Pratyaya Lope Pratyaya Lakshanam, Supting Antam Padam, Pratyaya Lope Pratyaya Lakshanam, Supting Antam Padam. So even though Supluk had taken place, this Padasanya is Akshunya Padasanya, means it is unimpaired. The Padasanya is not lost when we get the Supluk, because Pratyaya Lope Pratyaya Lakshanam. Now you see how these things are so important now. Pratyaya Lope Pratyaya Lakshanam, Supting Antam Padam. And then we can do Sanyogantasya Lopa. So the Pums becomes Pum. So Pungavaha we now have. Then of course we can do the Monuswaraha, because this is Padanta Makaraha. Padanta Makara, because this has a Padasanya by Supting Antam Padam, Pratyaya Lope, Pratyaya Lakshanam. We can make it into a Monuswaraha. Anuswarasya Parasavarnaha Vapadantasya. Vapadantasya, because this is a Padanta Anuswaraha. Padanta Anuswaraha, second Pungavaha, Pungavaha. So this is also a nice example where we have the Pums, which call it making in the Tatpurusha compound, Pratyata, because this is a famous word. Pungavaha is quite a famous word, isn't it? So when you think about this word, think about the sutram, Gora Tadjita Luki, Gora Tadjita Luki. So okay, so Pratyata touch comes if you have a Tatpurusha compound ending in Go. So we get the form Pungavaha. So that covers in the book what we have in point number 1 of page of number 1 of 187. So we looked at only 2 rules for that. We looked at 5486, which started this adhikara of this section about Tatpurushasyangulehe Sankhya Vyayadehe. Then we also looked at Gora Tadita Lukhi. This 2 things. Now the next point in the book he talks about Ratri. Ratri becomes Ratra, is preceded by Ahan Sarva, Ahan or Sarva, a word denoting part of the night in numeral or in avyayam, Sarva Ratraha. So Sarvachasau Ratrishcha Sarva Ratraha. We're going to come and see how it became like that masculine. We'll look at that in a second. But we're going to see how it becomes Sarva Ratraha. So let's look at this sutram. This sutram is 5487. 5487, which is the Ahasarvaika Desha Sankhyata Punyacha Ratrehe. One more time. Ahasarvaika Desha Sankhyata Punyacha Ratrehe. Ahasarvaika Desha Sankhyata Punyacha Ratrehe. Ahas, so the Payutim Ahan or Sarva or Eka Desha, which is part of the night, or Sankhyata, or Punya, Punyacharatrehe, Punyacharatrehe. So let's see what the Kaumudi says. So 5487. Let's look at the vritti for that before we use it. Always a good habit. Is Ebhyaha Ratrer Achasyat. Chat Sankhya Vyayadehe. Sankhya Vyayadehe. So because the sutram says Cha, Ahasarvaika Desh Sankhya Pura. So, and this is the typo here. Asarvaika Desha Sankhya Punyacha, not Puranacha, Punyacha Ratrehe, 5487. But because it says Cho is in that sutram, it brings in the prior sutram, which is this Sankhya Vachaka Shabda and the Avyayam. So Hasarvaika Desha Sankhya Punyacha Ratrehe says Chat. The sutram has the word Cho in that, Sankhya Vyayadehe Api. So because of the prior sutram, we had the Sankhya and Avyayam in that, so that comes down, that is taken in here, because punya cha. So this cha brings in this one, sankhya vyayadehe. So now what happens is that if you have the word term ratri at the end of these and at the end of a compound, and it is preceded by ahan or sarva or ek sarva or ek desha, part of the night, or sankhyata or punya or sankhya, any number, sankhya vachaka shabdaha, or an avyayam, any of these, then ratri takes the pratyaya. This samasa, we take the pratyaya tach. So meaning is, one more time, ebhyaha ratrer achyat chat sankhya vyayadehe. Then we already saw this sutram when we did the ahoratra in the prior lesson. We did the sutram ahoratra. So even though this is coming in the adhika, this adhika of tatpurushasya, this ahan is included here to form a dvandva compound, day and night. So this ahan is going to be forming a dvandva compound. So yes, even though we said there's only one sutram where Panini gives the samasanta pratyaya only for dvandva specifically, but here this ahan with ratri, with this we already saw in the prior lesson, we formed the dvandva samasaha. So Siddhanta Kauma says ahar grahanam dvandvartham. Ahar grahanam, this is the Vartikam is taking it as, so ahar grahanam in this sutram, ahar sarvaika desha sankhyata punya charatre, the ahan is for a dvandva samasa, rest of them for tatpurusha samasas. So already we did this one in the last lesson, ahashcharatrishcha horatraha. Let's look at this one now, sarva ratri sarvaratraha. Sarva ratri sarvaratraha. So if you look at the document now, what we have is that sarva cha ratrihi, which is the entire night. Now we can definitely use this sutram because we have the word sarva followed by ratri. Again, we're not taking all the examples, we're just taking one example here, which is given in the book also, same example given in the book. Sarva cha ratri, ratrishcha, sarvaratraha. Okay, let's continue with that. Again, how do you form this compound? Again, we'll look at this one, which is not today's topic. We have to start with that. So we have to give that, and that is a special sutram which Panini has in the same section of this Karmadharya compounds. He has this 2149. That is the very first sutram. It says that Purvakalaika Sarvajarat Purana Nava Kevalaha Samanadhikaranena. Again, we don't worry about sutram too much for today, but we are using sutram right now because Panini especially mentioned the word sarva over here. So sarva can be used to form a tatpurusha compound. This is Karmadharya compound. When you have a word in samadhikaranam with it, samadhikaranam with it, then it can be used. And then of course, when tatpurusha compound is samadhikaranam, then it gets the sanya of Karmadharya compound, which is by 1 to 42, tatpurusha samadhikarana karmadharaya. So one more time, we are using the sutram 2149, which begins at this adhikara, this section about samadhikaranena. Says purvakalaika sarva jarat purana nava kevalaha. So this purvakala, then eka sarva jarat purana nava kevalaha can be used to form this kind of a tatpurusha compound, which is samadhikaranam. So samadhikaranena, I should say, so that will form a Karmadharya compound. So let's not worry too much about what this is saying exactly, but the only thing is that this is the sutram which authorizes the compound. We look at it in detail in a future lesson. When we talk about Karmadharya compound, we look at it in detail. So when we use that sutram, then in that sutram, this entire compound here, Purvakalaika Sarvajarat Purana Nava Kevalaha, is Prathama Bahuvachanam. Immediately we use Prathamanidishtam Samasupasarjanam. Upasajanam Purvam. This should be straightforward for us, is that this is Prathamanidishtam in the compound, that gets sanya of Upasajanam. So the word sarva, in this case, gets the sanya of Upasajanam. Upasajanam Purvam. So we get, and then of course we use the usual two steps, which is Kruttadita Samasascha, Pratipadika Sanya, Supo Dhatu Pratipadikayoho, Supluk, you get Sarva Ratri. Now at this point we have to use is this, what's called Pumvad Bhavaha. Again, not exactly today's topic, Pumvad Bhavaha. Pumvad Bhavaha means that something becomes masculine-like. And the main sutram, there are two rules in 6.3 where the Purva Padam takes Pumvad Bhavaha. Pumvad Bhavaha. And they are going to be coming later on when we talk about this Karmadhara compounds in detail and Bahuris in detail. But let me give you the numbers right now. Give the numbers right now. I think it is 6.3. Let's see, it's around, I'm not in the wrong document. Maybe should here itself. So 6.3, 6.3, there are two rules here. 6.3, I think this one we're using is, Pumvad Karmadharya Jatiya Deshiyeshu. Is that in this, we are, remember in 6.3 means in the Adhikara here is Aluguttara Pade. We're talking about some Karyam for the Purva Padam in the compound. And this says that the Purva Padam becomes Pumvat, becomes masculine-like. When does that happen? In the Karmadharya compound. Karmadharya, also in the Jatiya Deshiya. Let's not worry about these. We're not doing this right now. But it says Pumvat in the Karmadharya compound. It's Pumvat. So this would have used that. But there's even more powerful Vartikam, which says that before even thinking of Karmadharya compound or anything else, this Vartikam says that Sarvanamnaha Vritti Matre Pumvat Bhavaha. This word Sarva, of course, belongs to Gana of Sarvadini Sarvanamani. Sarvadini Sarvanamani. Of course, Sarva is the very first member of that Gana. Sarvadini Sarvanamani. This is 127, which you have seen in plenty in the daily examples. Now, this Vartikam says that Sarvanamnaha. If something has Sarvanama Sanya, Vritti Matre. Vritti means that, compounding also kind of Vrittis. So, look at the word Vritti. If you look at the dictionary of Abhyankar, if you look at the dictionary, he'll mention to you nicely what Vrittis mean, So there are different kinds of Vrittis. The Samasa is a kind of Vritti. If you give me a sign, read it from the book, what is a Vritti? So Vritti Matre. So Vritti means that, it says that a compound word, there are many meanings of Vritti has many meanings, of course. But I'm on page number 367 of the Dictionary of Abhyankar. It says that, Dictionary of Sanskrit Grammar, says a compound word giving an aggregate sense different from the exact literal sense of the constituent words. There are mentioned 5 vrittis of this kind, which is, so the definition is Parartha Bidhanam Vritti. So you make an aggregate, some kind of an aggregate sense you make, one aggregate sense. And vritti is, and why do we need this right now? Because this Vartikam says vritti matre. Means as soon as the vritti is formed, the Sarvanama Shabdaha, you get Pumvad Bhavaha. Vritti matre Pumvad Bhavaha. Vrittis are the following. It says, Krit, Tadjita, Samasa, Ekadesha, Dhaturupaha, Panchavrittayaha. And then, Vrittavabodhakam Vakyam Vigraha. So basically forms some kind of an aggregate meaning that you form. And by using, with the pratyaya, like you can use the Krit pratyaya you can use, the Rita pratyaya you can use to form a meaning, or you can use Samasas, or the Ekashesha, which you saw like Mata Pitara becomes Pitarau. And then you can also use, the derived dhatus. These are vrittis. Basically, you take a term and you modify it or combine it in some way by the pratyaha or going to samasaha. So it's called vritti. So vritti, one more time, is one of the meanings of vritti. One of the meanings of vritti is that a compound word given aggregate sense different from the exact sense of the constituent words. And there are 5 kinds of vrittis: is krit, tadita, samasa, ekadesha, dhatu rupaha, panchavrittayaha. Anyway, the important thing is that samasa is a kind of vritti. So it's a vritti matre pumvat bhavaha. Becomes pumvat. So what happened? We had the Viravakyam sarva ratri, because ratri is a feminine term. Now, but that had a sthir pratyaya at the end. This pratyaya tap at the end was sthir pratyaya. It became sarva only because it's feminine. You make pumvat bhava now. We make pumvat bhavaha. Make it sarva ratri. Make it sarva ratri. So one more time, is in a Karmadharya compound, by using the sutram, you could have used this one, which is 6342. Pumvat Karmadharya Jatiya Deshiyeshu, 6342. We'll be looking at this in later lessons. We're going to come back to this one, 6342. There's also sutram which is here, Striyaha Pumvat, which is used mainly in Bahuvari compounds. This is also 6334. But right now we can just use this Vartikam, which says that Sarva Namno Vritti Matre Pumvat Bhavaha. Samas is a vritti, so vritti matre. As long as, doesn't matter what kind of vritti you're doing, as long as the vritti formation is being done, Sarvanama Shabda will take Pumvat Bhavaha. So this will become Sarva Ratri. Sarva Ratri Instead of sarvaratri, Sri Pratyaya top at the end becomes pumvat. So this becomes as if it's masculine. So it will become sarvaratri, sarvaratri. And then what happens is now we can use the sutram 5487. Asarvaika desha sankhyata punyacha ratrehe. We have a tatpurusha compound, which is the word ratri at the end, preceded by the word sarva. The word sarva. So ahas again is this. Ahas is meant for a dvandva compound. Ahoratra. We saw in the prior lesson. But the remaining is sarva ekadesha. Ekadesha means one part of a night. Sarva ekadesha sankhyata punyacha. And by cha we also got the sankhya vachaka shabda and also the avyayam from the prior sutram. So this is the sutram 5487, 5487, 5487, which is ahas sarvaika desha sankhyata punyacha ratrehe. We do have tatpurusha compound. We do have the word sarva in the beginning. We do have ratri at the end, and then it's going to take the pratyaya touch, pratyaya touch. So I'm sorry, ach, one second. This pratyaya is going to be ach pratyaya, not touch, because touch came a little bit later on. Touch came for the go. I'm sorry, pratyaya is ach. Doesn't make a difference for us right now, but the pratyaya is going to be just important because the takar and it has some implications. But if you go back to vritti one more time, pratyaya is going to be ach. So if you go back to prior examples, when we had the word go shabdaha, we used the pratyaya touch we used. But then when we had the prior one, anguli, the pratyaya we used was ach. This is coming at this is using 5487 right now. So pratyaya here also is going to be ach only. Pratyaya is going to be ach, not touch. So when we get the pratyaya ach, anubandha lope akara, halankyam, and then we again get the bhasanya for the yangam, yachibham, and then yasyeti cha, yasyeti. So ivarnantasya varnantasya bhasanyakasya angasya lopa bhavati tadite ikare cha pare. Very, very important sutram. Please try to do some homework on this of yasyeti cha, yasyeti cha. Very important sutram. Like a word gauri. So gaura becomes gauri. You take the word gaura, add the ikara, which is the stilinga pratyaha. So gaura plus e would become ad gunaha. But it doesn't happen because that gaura takes the lopaha. Becomes gaur-e, gauri. So this is so not only tadita pratyaya, but the long ikara, stilinga pratyaha. If you have the angam, which has the sanya of bha, yachibham, and it has the ending in the e varna or the avarnaha, takes the lopaha. So sarvaratra, sarvaratra. Now what happens is that here again we look at paraval lingam nundatat purushayoho. Paraval lingam. Ratri shabda silinga shabda. Should become ratri. Should become silinga, I'm sorry. Sarvaratra, we should silinga, we had the pratyaya top again. Silinga. But there is a special sutram for that. This 2429. Ratra anhaha pumsi. Ratra anhaha pumsi. So what are you ending in ratra or ahna or aha? These go in pumsi. They go in the masculine. So we are right now, we always first start with 2426, which utsargaha paravalingam tvanvatat purushayoho. We have a tatpurusha compound right now because we use 242149. But there's a special sutram which says, which we used in the last lesson also, ratra anhaha pumsi. So ratra and ahna and the aha. So these two come in when we do have the ahan pratipadikam. Right now we have the ratra at the end, ratra. It becomes pumsi. Pumsi. Let's look at 2429, the Siddhanta Kaumudi. 2429. What is always look at the vritti, what Bhattoji says. He's also the seva of the Acharya. So he was a great grammarian. So because thanks to him, literally thanks to Bhattoji almost, that Vyakaranam Shastram had Punarjivanam. So because of Bhattoji Dikshita, this science of grammar took a second life with the Siddhanta Kaumudi. Literally, it got a second life because of Bhattoji Dikshita. So whatever Bhattoji says, always read every single word with great respect, because that is the Acharya who gave Vyakaranam a Punarjivanam, literally Punarjivanam. Because by that time, Kaumudi was, the Kashika was getting old. It had some issues, of course. Any book, Kashika is great, but Bhattoji came and he elevated the whole Shastram, Vyakarana Shastram, to a new level, literally. So then these are the words from his mouth, words that he has written. So always read the Siddhanta Kaumudi with great respect and reverence, that what authority it has and how much work has gone into it and what greatness was there with that Acharya. This is the Siddhanta Kaumudi. So what it says, Ratra anhaha pumsi, etad antau dvandva tatpurusha pumsi eva. So he says that and gives this is Purva Ratraha, Sarva Ratraha. So when we have a Dvandva Tatpurusha, Dvandva compound, Tatpurusha compound, ending in one of these, Ratra, Ahna or Aha, then they only come in the masculine gender only. Masculine gender. So this is the Apavada for the Paravalingam Dvandva Tatpurusha Yoho. So always please from today make it a habit. Is when you want to apply any sutram, you pay your respect to Bhattacharya Dikshitaha. By going to Siddhanta Kaumudi, read the Vritti. This is like getting his blessings, This is getting his blessings. Before you use any sutram, go to Siddhanta Kaumudi, look up the number, read the Vritti, what he has to say, what the sutram means. Also make it very easy for you, because that will demystify the sutram for you, demystify it for you, because sutras can have a lot of different, nuances to it. So this one says that Ratra, Ahna and Aha. When this is at the end, then this will only be it's a compound which is a Dvandva or Tatpurusha compound. Okay, only these two. So this is coming under the same line of Paravalingam Dvandva Tatpurusha Yoho. From there it's coming down here. So right now what do we have? We have the word Ratra at the end because we got the Pratyay Ach. We did the Yacheti Cha. This will only be Pumsi. Then when we decline that, it becomes Sarva Ratraha. Not Sarva Ratra or anything like that, but Sarva Ratraha. Become Ramavat. Decline Ramavat because of this sutram Ratranhaha Pumsi. This overrules the Paravalingam Dvandva Tatpurusha Yoho. Now let's do this one which is called the what we call the Dviratram. Let's just form the Dviratram, which is the Samahara. Another example for you. So right now we are using, because in the book we have only one example, which he gives, Sarva Ratra only in the book he gives. But then let's look at one more example just as a practice for us, because this sutram has many possibilities. So it talks about the word Sarva, Ekadesha, Sankhyata, Punyacharatrehe. And by the Chakarat, by the Cha, brings in the Sankhya and the Avyaya from the prior sutram. Okay? So I want to give one more example where you can use a Sankhya Vachaka Shabdaha. Sankhya Vachaka Shabdaha we have to use to give it, because in the sutram the Cha brings in the prior sutram anuvritti of the Sankhya Vyayadehe. If Ratri is preceded by either Sankhya Vachaka Shabdaha or an Avyayam, then also in the Tatpurusha compound get the Pratyay Ach. Let's look at an example. Similar example is Dvayoho Ratriyoho Samaharaha. We're going to use this sutram is Dviratram, is a set of 2 nights. Dviratram. Now sutram we're going to use over here, this is the Laukika Vigrahavakyam. Alaukika Vigrahavakyam will be Dvi plus Os, Ratri plus Os. Dvayoho Ratriyoho Samaharaha. Now we're going to use sutram again, which is not today's topic. So don't worry about this one. So we're going to form this Drigu Samasaha. Drigus, we have not done Drigus yet, but let's see what we are going to use. So don't worry about the details of this one. Now, when we looked at Karmadharya compounds with Samadhikaranina starting from 2149, we mentioned that this Drigu is a subset. Avant is Karmadharya Bheda, Avantara Bheda. It's a subset of Karmadharyas. So this one Sankhya Purva Drigoho. So very quickly, again, we're not going to spend time on this today. We will have a later lesson which we're going to talk about Drigu compounds. So don't worry about it. But right now, we just want to give you a very short 1-minute thing about Drigus. Is that a Dik Sankhya Sanyayam? This is very important sutram also. Is that if you want to form a Samadhikarana Tatpurushaha, Karmadharya compound, but it has a Digvachaka Shabda, like some direction, north, south, east, west, etc. Or Sankhya Vachaka Shabda, the word like New Jersey. This would be a Tatpurusha compound, which is which has a North Dakota. How about that? North Dakota, North America, as a matter of fact. That is a Karmadharya compound, which has the Digvachaka Shabda at the beginning. Not New Jersey, but North America. Now it can only be Sanyaya. So North America can only be formed, of course not in English, but in some, if it has a special meaning. If you're just referring to the northern part of America, you cannot say North America. North America has to have a specific meaning, it has to have a specific name. There should be a name of a region or country called North America. If they simply you're saying the northern part of America, you cannot say North America. In Sanskrit, you cannot say. So Dik Sankhya Sanyayam, it has to be a Sanya, it has to be a proper name. You say North America, it should signify a territory, some territory by that name, Now, so when you say, so we may not be able to say North Canada. There is no country like North Canada that we know, that I know of at least. So North America can be formed, but North Canada cannot generally be formed. So northern part of Canada. So anyway, so that's Digvachaka. Then Sankhya also same thing. Pancha Brahmanaha is not allowed. Because there are no Pancha Brahmanaha. But Chaturveda is allowed. Because we know specific 4 Vedas, which are called Chaturveda. Pancha Brahmanaha we don't know. So Saptarishaya is also allowed. Because Saptarishaya, you have, Atriyadi Saptarishaya Prasiddha. That's a Sanya. So when you say Saptarishaya, it doesn't mean any Saptarishis. It talks only about those 7 rishis, which is a Sanya Vachaka. But it is, when you say Pancha Brahmanaha, there is no such Pancha Brahmanaha. So it cannot form. So that we look at in a later lesson. We'll come down to why am I mentioning this? Because it says that Dik Sankhya Sanyayam is one. It says it makes a niyamaha. It says next to them says Tadhitartha Uttarapada Samaharecha. But not only the Sanyayam, but Tadhita Uttarapada Samaharecha. In these 3 meanings also, in these 3 conditions also you can form you can use Dik and Sankhya Vachaka Shabda to form a Karmadharya compound. Now, what is the conditions? This is very briefly for today. We'll come back in a later lesson. Is if you want to make this a compound on the condition that you're going to add Tadhita Pratyaya, Tadhita, Uttarapada. So this compound, if you want to give Pancha Brahmana Kulam, if you want to make it like that, that is allowed. That is allowed. Because that Pancha Brahmana was formed on the condition that's going to become a part of a bigger compound, Pancha Brahmana Kulam. Then Pancha Brahmana Kulam is correct. But Pancha Brahmana is not correct. So because that cannot be formed like that. So if you have a compound which is going to become the part of a bigger compound, later on it's going to take Uttarapadam, another Uttarapadam. Then, so basically if this compound is going to become the Pura Padam of a bigger compound, then also you can use this one, you can use Dik and Sankhya. And Samaharecha. This is what we need today, Samaharecha. So then also you can form like with Pancha Patram. How about Ashtadhyayi? Ashtadhyayi is a Drigu compound. Ashtadhyayi, Saptashati is a Drigu compound. So Samahara. So Ashtanam Adhyayanam Samahara Ashtadhyayi. Collection of 8 Adhyayas. And then what happens is that, so one more time, Dik Sankhya Sanyayam. Is in a Karmadharya compound, you can use a word in direction or a word which has number, only Sanyayam. It has to be Sanyayam. But it can also be used, Dik and Sanya Vachaka Shabda can also be used under these conditions, which is the condition that your Tadhita Pratyaya is going to be coming, or which is going to be, this is going to be the Pura Padam of a bigger compound. You take an Uttara Padam following that, like Pancha Brahmana Kulam, or Samahare also. And then Sankhya Puru Diguho is that in these meanings, these 3 meanings, any one of these, if you have a Sankhya, not Dik, but only Sankhya, then that gets named Drigu. So Drigu compound is a Karmadharya compound which has a Sankhya Vachaka Shabda as a Pura Padam in one of these 3 meanings, one of these 3 conditions. It's Tadhite, Uttarapade, Samahare Cha. So right now we're looking at Samahare. This is just a brief overview of Drigu compounds. What is Drigu? Drigu is one which is Sankhya Vachaka Shabda as a Pura Padam, Karmadharya compound, subset. But that has to be in one of these 3, which is the Tadhita, which means that compound is going to take a Tadhita Pratyaya following it, or Uttarapade, it's going to have Uttarapadam following that, or Samahare. So right now we're using Samahare. So we're using a Drigu compound in Samahararthe, in Samahare. So the meaning over here we got like Ashtadhyayi, like the Saptashati, all these are, Triloki, these are Panchapatram, all these are Drigu compounds because they are Samahararthe. So Panchanam, Patranam, Samahara, Panchapatram, and so on. What do we have right now? Again, we're going to come back to this in a later lesson, which we're going to see Dvigu compounds in detail. So right now we will see Dvayoho Ratriyoho Samaharaha Dviratram. It's a collection of two nights. So Di plus Os, Ratri plus Os, Tadita Uttarapada Samaharecha. You get the Dvigu compound, and then again in the Dvigu compound was coming because it says Dik Sankhye Sanyayam. Dik Sankhye Sanyayam. So that Dik Sankhye was the Prathama Nirdishtam. Of course, right now only we are using Sankhya only, but Dik Sankhye in that Sutram, Dik Sankhye is the Prathama Dvivachanam. Dik Sankhye Sanyayam. So Anuvritti is coming down. So we're going to use the Sutram which is going to tell us that Prathama Nirdishtam Samas Upasajanam Purvam. So this Sankhya Vachaka Shabda gets the Pura Nipataha. It becomes the Pura Padam. And then of course we remove the sup by getting the Pradipade Sanya, Kuttadita Samasascha, Supotha Pradipadikayoho, get Viratri. Now we use same Sutram, Ahasarvaika Desha Sankhyata Punyacha Ratrehe, and because of this Cha over here, Anuvritti comes down from 5486, Anuvritti of Sankhya Vyadehe, which is Sankhya Vachaka Shabda if you have, and also Amvyayam. Sankhya Vyadehe. So we are right now, that's why I want to give this example. Because even though the Sutram 5487 does not mention a Sankhya or an Avyayam, by the mention of Cha, Anuvritti from the prior Sutram comes in, so we can use, because we have a Sankhya Vachaka Shabda Dvi, because Anuvritti of Sankhya Vyadehe comes down, we can add the Pratyaya Ach, Anubandha Lope A, by using Halantyam, get Dvi, and again the same thing, Bhasanya for the Yangam, Yascheti cha, Ivarnantasya, Avarnantasya, Bhasanyakasya, Angasya, Lopavavati, Tadite Ikare cha pari Alontyasya. So we get Dvi Ratra. Now another reason why I gave this example was, now we start with the same Linga Vicharaha, Linga Nirnayaha. So first thing we have is Paraval Lingam. Paraval Lingam Dhandatat Purushayoho, which is 2426. Paraval Lingam Dhandatat Purushayoho 2426. Paraval Lingam. But then we saw the Sutram which says that Vishesh Sutram Ratrannaha Pumsi. Ratrannaha Pumsi. So we have Ratra at the end, and so we should get Pumsi. But then comes a Vartikam. Sankhya Puram Ratram Klibam. This is Linganushasnam actually. The Linganushasnam, this is Sankhya Puram Ratram Klibam. So which we have the Sankhya preceding Ratra, it goes to neuter. So again, one more time, we have the Sutram 2, always start with 2426, Paraval Lingam, Dvandatat Purushayoho. Using that Sutram, if Ratri is feminine, this will be Silinge. But we had a special Sutram, which Ratran Pumsi, which says that if Ratra is at the end, it becomes Pumsi. Which is Dvandva compound, only these two, okay? So Dvandatat Purushayoho. Ratra is at the end, becomes Pumsi. But then even overruling that, we have a special mention of this smaller domain, right? Because that 2426 Paraval Lingam, Dvandatat Purushayoho is any Dvandva compound, any Tatpurusha compound, Paraval Lingam. Now this one, 2429, is specifically when we have Ratra or Ahna or Aha at the end, becomes Pumsi. Now, a more specific rule here, which is the Linganush, it's not a Sutram, but this is a statement Linganushasnam, also mentioned by Bhattoji in the Siddhanta Kaumudi. The Siddhanta Kaumudi is the complete grammar of the language, is the complete grammar of the whole language. If you want to form any word in the language, including the Vedas, the Siddhanta Kaumudi should do it for you. Of course, there might be some words which are exceptions or whatever, but at least 99% you can use Siddhanta Kaumudi. That is the greatness of Siddhanta Kaumudi. It includes all the statements that you need, from Linganushasana, from Shiksha, and all of these. So everything includes Siddhanta Kaumudi. So Bhattoji has Siddhanta Kaumudi. It says that Sankhya Puram Ratram Klibam. Linganushasana is an appendix in Siddhanta Kaumudi, so that we can use this one. So this is going to be in the neuter now. So not Paravalingam, not Pumsi, but Napumsakam, Klibam. So then, this was a Dvigu compound. We just formed the Dvigu compound. We just use a Sutram 2151, which we just saw, which is the Taditartha Uttarapade samahare cha to 151, and then we saw sankhya purva dviguho, and then we go, last lesson we were talking about the samahara dvandvaha, but here the very first sutra part was dvigure ekavachanam. So dvigu is going to take ekavachanam. So the ekavachanam, and then we can also get the sanapumsakam, also be sanapumsakam. So along with 241, so 2417, 241. So digure ekavachanam and sanapumsakam it's going to be ekavachanam, also going to be napum. So this case that ayam ekavad bhavati, napumsakalinga bhavati, is panchagavam, dashagavam, and so on, shirogrivam, which we use in the last. And then there are some vartikams down in the dvigu, okay? There are some vartikams. Let's not get on that today. Because, then how about ashtadhyayi? How about ashtadhyayi then? Because if ashtadhyayi is supposed to be sanapumsakam, then what happened to this sanapumsakam then? How about saptashati, triloki? Why did these become feminine then? Because there are vartikams down here. There's a vartikam under sanapumsakam. He says that akaranta uttarapado dvigu striyam bhashyate. There's also a counter vartikam. Is patradibhya pratishado vaktavya, because you have the word panchapatram. The panchapatram became neuter. Ashtadhyayi became feminine. Now both of those are dvigu compounds. Then how is that happening now? Because of this, by sanapumsakam, which should become the like panchagavam, which should become napumsakam. But we have ashtadhyayi and saptashati, etc. So it says akaranta uttarapado dvigu striyam bhashyate. And there's sutram in the striyam adhikara, which means the long e pratyaya also. So that is also coming in we're digressing too much digression here, but it's interesting topic here is how this word ashtadhyayi became feminine. And even if it became feminine, how it became ashtadhyayi? Well, ashtadhyaya then, because if you have a pratyaya top, dvigoho, the word dvigoho is coming over here. So we are also using this 4121. The long e comes at the end. So this dvigoho by 4121. So there are some compounds like ashtadhyayi, saptashati, which are dvigu compounds, and they become they go in the feminine, but not all of them. You can have like panchapatram. Yes.
I was also wondering about Navaratri.
Yes, Navaratri. Now that's interesting thing. Navaratri. Now how about that now? In fact, that's something. Okay. Since Vasu has a question, how about Navaratri, by the way? How is that now? Because I just talked about nicely about how this we looked Linganushasanam. We talked about Sankhya Purvam Ratram Klibam. So this is Sankhya Purvam Ratram Klibam. So Navaratram we should have. Navaratram, not Navaratri. Not Navaratri, but Navaratram. Now, what we could have, and this is my guess right now, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think what we could have is that in that Gana, we can use this, I think we can probably use this one, which is I'll think about this some more, because that's the question which I had actually, about the Navaratri. He says, Navanam Ratrinam Samahara Navaratri. Then what about this one, which is about the Dviratram? What about Linganushasanam, which is saying the Sankhya Purvam Ratram Klibam? What about that now? Now what I think is that this is a situation, and again, see, this is compounds, See, compounds are not like mathematics. They don't work like mathematics. There will be some situation like Navaratri, with Linganushasanam, unless you can form the compound in some other way, which probably I don't think so. I think it means Navanam Ratrinam Samahara Navaratri. So it's a collection of 9. I think it's pretty obvious, isn't it? The meaning is straightforward. Navanam Ratrinam Samahara Navaratri. Now, happily, we are making this compound right now, Dviratram, we are making it. But then, as Vasu correctly says, what about Navaratri? Now, I'm not 100% sure about this, Navaratri. But I think what's happening here is that this Linganushasanam is not like Ashtadhyayi Sutram. I mean, it is there. It is, it has authority. It doesn't have like complete authority. And then we have this Vartikam here in Ashtadhyayi. Akaranta uttarapado dviguhu striyam bhashyate. So now what my thinking is that, in fact, I'm glad, I was not going to bring it up to create a controversy, but using this like Ashtadhyayi, Saptashati, we can make Navaratri. We can make Navaratri like that. So it's Akaranta. We can go through all these same steps. can go through all these same steps. Use this sutram. You can use this sutram. Ahasarvaika desh sankhyat punyacha. And because of cha, we get the sankhya vyadehe from Paraj sutram. We got Navaratra. Up to that part is straightforward, Navaratra. Only thing there is Navan, Prajapati is Navan. So we have to do the Naru Prajapatikantasya. Because Navan ends in Nakaraha. Navan will get the Padasanya by Pratyay Loya Pratyay Laksham Supting Antam Padam. And we have to do the Nalopa Prajapatikantasya. That's the only extra thing in Navaratri. Except for Dviratri, with Navaratri, because Navan ends in Nakara. You get the Padasanya. We have to do 8 to 7 Nalopa Prajapatikantasya. But then the question, how it became Navaratri? Why not Navaratram? I think Navaratram is a valid form. In fact, I think also Bhaimish gives Navaratram also. So Navaratram is a valid form. It's not a wrong form. But what's happening here is that, this is how compounds, compounds are fun. It's also, a compound also a challenge. It's also a challenge. Now, unless I'm missing something, I could be missing something here. But this Vartikam, Akarantu Uttarapado Digo Striyam Bhashyate, Panchapuli, Ashtadhyay and all that, Dasharathi. So now these are authorized by the Vartikam. So now we've got a clash between the Vartikam and the Linganushasanam. Linganushasanam is saying that if you have a Ratri Antam, Sankhya Adi should be Apumsakam. I think in Navaratri, in the word Navaratri, that Linganushasanam is not being honored. So Navaratram is the form which if you follow Linganushasanam should be Navaratram. But Navaratri, it looks like the Linganushasanam, which is again, it's not a Sutram, it's not a Vartikam, it's Linganushasanam. So it is not being honored. So if you ignore Linganushasanam, that statement of Linganushasanam, which is this one, which is the Sankhya, this one, which is this Sutram, Sankhya, it's a Linganushasanam, Sankhya Puram Ratram Klibam. Linganushasanam is an appendix of Ashtadhyayi. It's an appendix of Ashtadhyayi. It's not part of Ashtadhyayi exactly. It is only an appendix to it, which has, authority, but it's not like a sutram itself. So if you ignore that Linganushasanam statement, then we can get Navaratri by using this which we normally use for like Ashtadhyaya, etc. Akarant Uttarapado Dvigo Striyam Bhashyate, and then we have to use the, in fact, now the verse mentioned, I put in the document here, and then we have to use this sutram, which is Drigoho, 4121 Drigoho. 4121 Drigoho. Because even if you got Silingam, if you have the Pratyaya top, Ajadiyata top should become Navaratra. But then Drigoho says that 4121, I'm sorry, 4121 Drigoho. 4121 Drigoho. So what the Sutram is saying is that Drigo Sanyakat Pratipadika Striyam Ni Pratyabhavati Panchapudashapuri. So the Ashtadhyaya is like the example. So what we'll do is let's put Navaratri down here. So Navaratri, how is that formed? Navaratri. I think we don't use the Navaratri. So ignore the Linganushasanam, ignore this one, ignore this Sankhya Puram Ratram Klibam. We ignore that one, and then we use the Vartikam, use the Vartikam under 4117 Sanapumsakam. But this Sanapumsakam is the basic rule. So we are already translating that one. We already down to the Vartikam already down there. So Napumsakam as a starting point, she should be Napumsakam, Sanapumsakam. But the Vartikam is saying is Akaranta Uttarapada. I think there's a typo here. Akaranta Uttarapada. Akarantu Uttarapada Digustayam Bhashyate. So we'll take this one instead, Syam Bhashyate. So we'll take that one, and then we will add the Vartikam in 2477. So 2477 Vartikam, we'll use this one, and then we'll add the Pratyaya Nib by Digoho, and then make the. So you have to form this one. If Navaratri is a Shishta Prayogaha, we have to do Samadhanam of that. There's no other way. And unless I'm missing something here, which I could be missing something, but otherwise we have to go this route. And then we use the Sutram Digoho, so we make Navaratra, following all the prior steps, Navaratra. And here we are using the Nalopa Padipadikantashya, Navaratra, and add the Pratyaya Nip by using Digoho, Sutram Digoho. So Nip by Digoho, and that is numbers 4121. Another one, the Lopaha, Ikaraha, by Lashakvatadite Halantyam. So this will be the we make Navaratri. Here also we Angam gets the Bhasanya. Don't forget, the Sri Pratyaya also is part of the Swadi Pratyaya. Here also we're going to get the Angam gets the Bhasanya. So first of all, we know Anubandha Lopaha by Lashakvatadite Halantyam, and then we have to get the Bhasanya by 1418, and after that we have to do Yasyeti Cha. Yes, that's why I told you. Yasyeti is a very important sutram. Any Sri Pratyaya which you add, which is long Ikaraha, Yasyeti Cha. So this is what I think it is. I think that this one has not been used in Navaratri. We are going back to the Vartikam 1, 2, 4, 17. Akaranto, there's a typo here. Akaranto Uttarapada. Akaranto Uttarapada. Dvigustriyam bhashyate. Akaranto Uttarapada. Sorry. Akaranto Uttarapada. Okay. Akaranto Uttarapada. Dvigustriyam bhashyate. Okay, let's use that one. This is I'll think about it if I can find a better answer for you, but I'm not finding anything right now besides this one. Okay, but coming to our example, we use Sankhya Puram Ratram Sklivam, and it'll become in the neuter gender. We of course add the Pratyaya Su, Digore Ekavachanam, it's going to be Ekavachanam. That one is still valid, Digore Ekavachanam, which is the 241. In fact, the last lesson when we were using all those rules for Samahara Dvandvaha, this one was the first tool there, Digore Ekavachanam. Digore Ekavachanam is going to be only Ekavachanam. So here, Digore Ekavachanam is 241. Digore Ekavachanam. So it's going to be Ekavachanam, and in this case, Napumsakalingam, swing Pratyaya Su, 241, and then we got because someone Napumsakal, Apavala, Ato Amipurvaha, Dviratram. Okay, so that is the sutram which we just saw. This is the point in the book, which is the number 2. Which is this word Ratri. And the sutram here, which we use one more time, is the 5487, which is Ahasarvaika Desha Sankhyata Punyacha Ratrehe Anuvritti Kamindana Sankhya Yadehe. Next point in the book, it talks about Rajan, Ahan, and Sakhi. Become Raja, Aha, and Sakha. The very first page of the Bhagavad Gita, very first page, Kashi Rajascha Viryavan. Probably in the Kashi Rajascha Viryavan in the very first Adhyaya, I think it is Dushtake Dushyar. Only fifth in the Gita, the fifth sutram itself. So the sutram Rajas Sakibhyast Tach, Raja Ahan, Rajahas Sakibhyast Tach. So this will come over here, Rajahas Sakibhyast Tach. We chant the Gita in the very fifth shloka of Gita. You can recall this sutram. So from now on, the rest of your life, when you chant the Bhagavad Gita, in the very fifth shloka itself, think about this form, Kashi Rajascha Viryavan. Because Kashi Raj should be Kashi Rajan, should be, isn't it? Should become Kashi Raja, became Kashi Raja. So how did that happen? Kashi Rajascha Viryavan. That's what's happening is that this sutram, which is Rajahas Sakibhyashtach. Very straightforward sutram. It's in the Tatpurusha again. If you have Tatpurusha compound ending in Rajan or ending in Has or ending in Sakhi, takes the Pratyaya touch. Let's look at a couple of examples. First, before that, let's pay our homage to Bhattoji and look at his vritti. What does he say on 5487? Always a good habit. Before applying any sutram, get the blessing of Siddhanta Kaumudi. 5487 says, Ebhyaha. There's some numbers. Or is this one? Sorry, 5491. I'm sorry. Raja Sakibhyashtach Etadantat Tatpurushat Tach Syat. Say straightforward vritti. Etadantat means the Tatpurusha compound ending in Rajan or Ahan or Sakhi. Pratyaya touch comes there. Samasanta Pratyaha. Paramarajaha, Supreme King. Krishna Sakaha, which is the Krishna's friend. So if you take the word which is Krishnasya Sakaha, now we are using a sutram called Shashti. Again, this is not today's topic. It's going to come in the next lesson. You're going to see on the next page when you go to on the next, not next this same lesson. The next page we're going to get Shashti Tatpurusha. We look at point here. in general, a noun in the genitive case can be compounded with another noun. This is not today, we'll do it next class, 2 to 8. Sutram called Shashti. The straightforward sutram, 2 to 8, which means that if you have Shashtiyantam Padam, it can be Samarthena, Subantena, Samasyate, Tatrusha Samasascha Bhavati, Tatrusha Samasascha Bhavati. So you can take a Shashtiyantam and compound with a related term and Subantam and form a Shashti Tatpurusha. So this is the sutram that we are using to form this compound. We have to start with the sutram from 2122 to authorize the compound. Is 228 and this is 228, 228. So we'll just look at the vritti for that also very quickly. The saying is that there's no vritti. There's no vritti. When that happens, it is spashtam. It is spashtam. There's no vritti for that. So shashtiyantam padam, samarthena subantina samasyate, tatrusha samaso bhavati, tatrushascha samaso bhavati. This is my own vritti. I'm making up my own vritti. But it's spashtam basically. So you can take a shashti and compound it to make it into a shashti tatrusha compound. So when you make Krishna Sakaha, Krishna Sakha, I'm sorry, of course in Sakha, we use Sutram Anang Sau. We have done these examples in the daily examples many, many times. So in the Sakha, we have the Sutram Anang Sau. Anang became Sakhan, became Sakha, okay? So Sakha is Prathama Ekvachanam, but Pradipika becomes Sakhi, becomes Sakha. Anang Sau, 7193. So you get Krishna plus this is Lokika Vigraha Vakyam, Krishna Sakha. Laukika Vigrahavakyam is Krishna Nyas, Shashita Purusha, Sakhi Su, use the Sutram Sakhi Shashti, and with the Sutram, of course, the Shashti is Patmanidishtam, so Shashtiyantam Padam will take the Purva Nipataha, take the Purva Nipataha. So because of Prathamanidishtam Samasa Pasajanam Puram. From now on, in every class, I hope this is going to be now straightforward for us. It will be, because Prathamanidishtam Samasa Pasajanam Purvam. So in the sutram Shashti, clearly Shashti is Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachanam. So the Shashtiyantam Padam Krishna plus Nyas will take the Purva Nipataha. Krishna Nyas Sakhi. So, of course, these two also are automatic for us now. Kritadita Samasascha, Supodhada Padabidikayoho, Krishna Sakhi. And now comes the Pratyaya touch. Raja has Sakhi Vyash touch. So Etadanta Tatpurusha. So if you have we have Rajan or Ahas or Sakhi, you get the Pratyaya touch. So here we have the Sakhi at the end of the Purusha compound. So because we use 2 to 8 is part of the Adhika of Tatpurusha. So we get the Anubandha Lopayakara, Chutu Halantyam. And then the same two-step, which is Angam Gashta Bhasanya, Yachibham, Yasyeti Cha. The same two steps as before. Because we have the Ivarnantamangam, which is, and if you say the Bhasanya, you Yasyeti Cha can be any Ivarnantam, Avarnantam. Doesn't have to be Rasva Ikara. It can be Rasva Dirgha. Ivarnantasya, Avarnantasya, Angasya. This Ikara is here, happens to be Rasva over here, takes the Lopa, Alontyasya, Krishna Sakha. This is Paravalingam. Here we just use Paravalingam. Tatpurushayoho, straightforward. Krishna Sakha. Of course, the word Sakhi is masculine. So we become masculine. So you can declare Krishna Sakha. Just straightforward. So here there was no special rule. Use only Paravalingam. So the Tatpurushayoho, make it masculine. Now in Gita, Kashi Rajashtavi, or King of Kashi. Same thing. Rajan Pratipadikam, Rajan. Only thing here, we do not use the Yasyeticha. Yasyeticha only come when you have the Ivarnantam Athva Avarnantam Angam. The Kashi Rajan ending Nakaraha. So there we have used 64144 Nastadjite. 64 again in the Bhasya Adhikaraha. When you have in this stuff we'll have Kashi Rajan plus touch when we do. Again the Angam will get the Bhasanya. That is common. That's Samanyam. Tatra Bheda Nasti. Angam gets the Bhasanya. Yachibam, but we cannot apply Yasyeticha. Yasyeticha only has with the Angam is Ivarnantam Athva Avarnantam. This is Nakarantam Angam. Then we have to use Sutram which is Nastadjiteya. The same Bhasyadhikaraha comes Sutram Nastadjite. Again, this Adhikara is very important, Bhasyadhikara. The moment you get the Bhasanya, you call this subroutine of Bhasya. Nastadjite says that if you have a Nakarantamangam, which is followed by Pratyavasha Tadjita Sanya, then it takes the T Lopaha. So Nastadjite will take the T Lopaha. So one more time is if you have an Angam which has the Bhasanya ending in a Nakara, and which is followed by a pratyaya which is tadita sanya. In that case, what happens is that we get the T lopaha. Nastadite T lopaha. Nakarantasya bhasya. Tehe lopaha. Tadite parataha. Nakarantasya bhasya. Tehe lopaha. Tadite parataha. So what we have is here, we have an angam which will be, again I haven't put all this, the same steps. So we'll have the angam here Kashi Rajan plus A. Angam will get the bhasanya by yachibham with the T lopaha. Chontyadi T. So the an bhaga will take lopa, become Kashiraj plus a Kashiraja. Then become Paravalingam, become Kashirajaha. Instead of using the sutram yasyeticha, we have to use the sutram nastadite, because we have the nakarantamangam which has the bhasanya, which is followed by pratyaya which is tadita sanya, because this touch pratyaya is coming in 5491. Taditaha adhikaraha. So everything is satisfied. Angam Kashi Rajan will have the bhasanya by yachibham with nakarantamangam, which is followed by pratyaya which is sanya of tadita pratyaha, and therefore we can use nastadita. T lopaha becomes Kashi Raja plus a becomes Kashi Raja Ramavat Paravalingam Nandanata Purushayoho, and we can use Kashi Raja. One last example on this sutram, Saptaha. Very famous word. Saptaha means a week. So Saptanam Ahnam Samahara Saptaha. Again, we're going to use the same sutram which we saw in some detail today, which is we're going to form a Drigu compound, Saptaha. We'll form a Drigu compound. This Drigu compound, as we just talked about, is under the condition, it's a Karmadharya compound, which has Sankhya Purva. Sankhya Purvo Driguho. Sankhya Purvo Driguho. Sankhya Purvo Driguho. So Sankhya Purvo Driguho is over here, 2152. So when you have a Karmadharya compound, which is Sankhya Purvam, is one of these three meanings. Taditartha Uttarapada Samaharecha. Right now we're doing Samaharaha. Saptanam Ahnam Samaharaha. The collection of 7 days is a week. Saptanam Ahnam Samahara Saptaha. So we do go through the same steps as before. Same steps as we did over here. Okay? Same steps in Navaratri, when we did the Dviratram. Only thing here is that we don't have the word Ratri at the end. We don't have to worry about this sutram, which is the Ratra Pumsi. Don't have to worry about that. And in fact, I'm sorry, we need a sutram right here. We need a sutram Ratra Pumsi we will need. Also mention the word Aha at the end. But we don't have to look at the Linganushasana because only was Ratram Klibam. Only Ratram. So this we don't need right now. Sankhya Puram Ratram Klibam we don't need. We'll only look at this one, Ratran Pumsi. Otherwise, the steps are the same. We do the Samahar Drigu compound, and then, so let's go down here. So the steps here are same as Dviratram. Similar steps, except only linga which will be different now. So Saptanam Ahnam Samahara, Lokika Vigraha Vakyam. We have Saptan plus Am, Ahan plus Am. Sutam Tadita Arthottarapada Samaharecha. Drigu compound, again, we'll look at this in detail in later lessons. Then in the Drigu compound, Anuvritya Dik Sankhya Sanyayam, Dik Sankhya is coming down here, and the Dik Sankhya is the Prathama Dvivachanam. So Dik Sankhya is Prathama Nirdishtam, Samasa Upasajanam. So Sankhya Vachaka Shabda Saptan will get the Puru Nipata by Upasajanam Purvam. Upasajanam Purvam, same as in Dviratram. So we get Saptan plus Ahan, Anubandha Lopaha, the sup look. The Kutita Samasascha, Supo Dhatu Pradipatikayoho, Saptan plus Ahan. So we lose the sup, and then at the Pratyaya touch, Rajahas Sakibhyash touch. So we have Ahan at the end of the Purusha compound in the Pratyaya touch. We saw examples of Kashi Rajaha, we saw the Krishna Sakaha, we're looking at now Saptaha. Sapta. So Rajahas Sakibhyash touch. Pratyaya touch Anubandha Lopayakaraha Chutu Halantyam. And now there is an important sutram, which is the next point in the book, by the way. Next point in the book, which we'll do next class, is that Ahan becomes Ahna if preceded by a numeral, indeclinable, sarva, or a word denoting a part of the day. This is 5488 we see next time, 5488. But why did that apply in this sutra? So why did 5488 not apply in the word Saptaha? Why did not apply? So it says Anno Anna Etebhyaha. So Siddhanta Kaumudi on 5488, we should look at the next class, we'll see that, which says Sarvadibhyaha. because the prior sutram in the Ashtadhyayi was which we saw today. Sarvaika desha sankhyata punyacha. So following these words, the ahan becomes ahna. So right now we have found the word saptaha. So saptan is sankhya vachaka shabdaha. It says, and it also becomes anuvritti of sankhya vyade also is coming down here. So not only sarvaika desh sankhyata punyacha, also sankhya vyadehe. So following all these words, the ahan becomes ahna. Now why did the saptaha, why did it not become saptanha? Because next sutram, na sankhyadehe samahare. So if this sutram which you see next class, which in the book last point on in this point is ahan becomes ahna. So this is by numeral etc. That did not apply in this word saptaha, because the next sutram which is saying this na sankhyadehe samahare. So this 5489 is stopping 5488. So next class when we see 5488, we are wondering why in saptaha it did not come, because 5489 is going to stop this one. So it says sarvadibhyaha parasya ahana shabdas. So ahan shabdas. So because the ahan takes the ahna adeshaha. But there is the 5489 stops that. I think there might be a typo over here. But we see next class. We see this one next class. Okay. See next class. Only thing mentioning right now is that this 5489 says na sankhyadehe samahare. We don't get the ahna adeshaha. So what we have done, so because this na means it's a nishedha. So this 5489 says do not make the ahan into ahna if you have a sankhyadi samasaha, which is in a samahare. Right now we do have the saptanam ahnam samaharaha. So we don't make the ahna adesha. 5489 stops 5488, and then we get the word saptaha. So now so of course the saptan is going to take the nakar lopaha, no lopa pradibadikantasya, because pratyay lope pratyakshanam suptingantam padam. And now we use this sutram. We should paravalingam again. Should have paravalingam dhanasatpurushayoho. Ahan is a napusakalinga shabdaha. So if you take paravalingam dhanasatpurushayoho, you get the napusakalingam here. But we have seen the sutram 2429 which says ratranha pumsi. If you have ratra or ahna or aha at the end, this is going to become of a dvandva compound. Purusha compound becomes pumsi. Saptaha becomes pumsi because of ratranha pumsi. And then sankhya purva diguho, digureka vachanam. So we get this sutram saptaha. This is ramavat shabdaha. Becomes ramavat. It's ekavachanam also. For the sankhya purva diguho. So it is sankhya purva diguho. The ekavachanam. So saptaha is it becomes ramavat ekavachanam saptaha. So we'll continue next time. So what we did here was we took an example of the ahan pradipadikam, the same sutram rajas sakibhyashtach saptanam ahnam samaharaha. We formed a digu compound. We did the supluk, and then we got the pressure touch at the end. And here also we do the same thing. We have to. Oh, I forgot to mention one more thing. Okay, we'll continue next time. Now when we did this word Kashi Rajaha, we use this sutram which is the Nastadite. We'll finish in about 2 minutes here. Okay, we use sutram Nastadite. We'll continue this next time. So last time we looked at the sutram Nastadite. If you have nakarantam angam, which has the birth sanya, then we do the T lopaha, which we can use here also. So we have saptahan, of course saptan ahan we have right now, and then this is nakaranta pradipadikam, which has the birth sanya by yachibham. We use T lopaha. But we see that there is a niyama sutram, annashtakhoreva, is the ahan will take the T lopaha only when takhoreva. So when you have ta or the kha, takhoreva. So 5-4, which we'll use next time one more time. So 6-4-1-44. If you want to use 6-4-1-44, nastadite. But 6-4-1-45 is a niyama sutram. It says ahan iti etasya ta khor eva parataha ti lopaha. So when you have only this pratipatya ta or kha, takhor eva, pratya touch we have right now, so we can use nastadite with niyama sutram ahnashtakhor eva. do the T lopaha, we get saptaha, and then of course ratranhaha pumsi comes saptaha, sankhya purva dvigoho, and we get dvigure ekavachanam saptaha. Next time we look at the next point in the book. Again, sorry we're a bit over time, but we have the next point in the book. We have the sutram, which is 5488. We just saw that. You see the word purva and haha. See next class we'll do 5488, and the next lesson if you can practice it on your own 5488 for purva and haha. See if you can use that one. For that you'll also need to use 847. So in the next lesson we'll use lesson annaha puram purvan purvanhaha. You'll have to use in the end, you make the ahna adeshaha. Ahna, for ahan become ahna, then you have to use also 847. And for then we also look at the next page in the next time. So I've already given the rules, which is 2124. We have 2129, also 235. Then we have 2132 for Tritiya Satpurushaha, 2131 with the Vartikam, 2130. So Tritiya Satpurusha Chaturthi we have 2136 with the Vartikam, and Panchami we have the 2137 with the Vartikam, 2138. Shashti we have, which is already the Sutram Shashti itself, 228. Also 221, 225. Saptami we'll look at 2140, 2145. Okay, let's stop with that. Ramo Rajamanistada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Vihata Nishacharachamo Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Raman Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasjadasmyaham Rame Chittale Sada Bhautame Bho Ramama Muddhara Rama Rame Tirame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattalyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana